feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. And if you're my peers and subscribers, welcome back. So for a long time, I took a very long break from the YouTube channel. I am back and I'm ready and I'm energized. So you can guarantee you that I will be creating good content. Today, I have a very exciting brand new tarot deck that I created. Actually, this was inspired by my midterm videos that I've been doing, where I've been struggling with trying to come up with the numbers based on the Uno cards, and I wanted something to be more helpful. And so actually what I did was I kind of created a mixture between tarot, flashcards, memory cards, Cards Against Humanity, mixed in with a little bit of Illuminati cards. Now, don't get worried, Illuminati cards are just playing cards with a special edition, different designs, specifically made to just enhance the character play. So think of it like Cards Against Humanity with special addictions. You get my point. But anyway, so I'm going to show you my tarot deck. I took about 2 or 3 weeks to create it. From creation to finish, I was able to create 184 designs with a total of almost 94 cards total, with each card individually having 2 different designs. So I'm going to show you and run through them and then show you how they work and how it operates. Again, my spirit guides are the ones who help me do this and create this. So thank you, spirit guides. So we have here popular leader. We have here on the opposite side, we have the results are undecided. We have here the Democrats and the Republicans. We have a Republican woman and a Democratic man, right? So it talked about how the results are undecided and how that potentially sway who's in office or who's not. To kind of give you a more broader sense of what we're talking about. We have martial law. On the back of it, we have Blue Lives Matter, corruption, police brutality, Black Lives Matter. And I tried to make sure that this was almost like a flashcard to kind of give you a little glimpse of the history that we are currently living. But I wanted to make sure that it was relevant, but also could be used multi-purpose. If you're not intentioned of buying this deck or you want me to mass produce this deck, I want to make sure that it's multi-purpose for those who are trying to get citizenship. They can learn about American history. For those who are reading, they can of course, do tarot cards with it. If anybody who just want to play a normal game, they can also use it as a game tool, like Lacteria. So we have here pandemic, and I wanted to make sure that we had something that kind of resembled the time period. So I chose Donald Trump as the perfect character for representing the former president. We have here Donald Trump and Barack Obama. We have here foreign interference, right? We have the Russian flag, Iran, China, Britain. And then on the back of it, we have women's rights, pro-choice, sexism, and of course, the wealth gap. I wanted to make sure that I gave a variety to all the cards so that when you're reading them, you can get a most accurate reading. We have here ranked choice voting, popular vote, the electoral college. And then on the back of it, we have Black Lives Matter against social issue, COVID vaccine, protest, or riot. So particularly when you're reading, you can't take the cards out, especially when you're not needed. If you don't really expect them to be needed in the reading. We have here trouble ahead, followed by October surprise. Now, if you're not familiar with October surprise is, it's just a term that was used when a presidential candidate releases information against another candidate or their opponent right before election day to swing the vote. This did not happen in 2020, but it did happen in 2016 with Hillary Clinton with the FBI scandal. We have here nuclear war, and on the reverse here, we have the Congress, particularly the Supreme Court. You can look at this in terms of the Supreme Court, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, and it says here it leans Democratic. Now, please keep in mind that all these designs that I created, particularly for this deck, is copyrighted, so you cannot use the designs. We do have here climate change, right? We have different natural disasters. On the back of it, we have discrimination, voting rights, slavery, civil rights. We have here the religion card, which have different religion, including and paganism, and of course, spiritualism, especially when it comes to Native Americans. It's also followed by the law or bill, which is interesting because just say you wanted to read on a bill, you can find out whether or not it's going to pass or not. We have the Electoral College margin, which would be a very helpful deck and a helpful card design. There's a lot of them of replicas, but different numbers. It will tell you between the percentages. Let's say you want to know who was going to win in terms of electoral college vote. It'll give you the percentages here with the electoral vote. Just say you're reading on the Senate, or you want to know how many people, how many seats they're going to win. You can read on that also as well. The House of Representative seats as well. But what's really amazing about this card is that it's multi-purpose, which means that you can also use this for determining whether or not a law is going to be passed in the House or the Senate or, of course, the White House. Again, we have another one as well. It's followed by the music industry. We have here jazz. I particularly chose jazz as it represented Black Americans in Louisiana, I believe New Orleans, where jazz was originally created, started a movement of different music across America, and I thought that was very significant historically. We have the White House. It talks about a Democratic flip, so particularly flip from the other party, so from the Republicans, for example. It's also on the opposite side, we have Born Leader. We have Republican win, and then we have the Democrats flip the midterms or the Congress. We have here is the Democratic president and then Republican president. This also refers to, it helps you narrow it down, particularly who the tarot card is referring to. We have your charismatic leader, which is very important because that is a very important trait, especially for any candidate to win. We have here on the back of it, we have oil spill, high gas prices on the Middle East, oil and gas industry. We have unpopular leader. And then on the back of it, we have 50-50 standing. Now, a lot of these have been very well thought out in terms of the placement, the way that they're created, the way the two cards go together. I wanted to make sure I thought of every question possible. So if you were to ask the deck, it will give us the answer that we're looking for without it being ruined because it just they were asking about JFK, for example. The JFK and FBI don't be on the same card. It has to be on separate individual cards, if that make any sense. We have here President Lincoln, followed by hateful ideology. We have white supremacy, Proud Boys, neo-Nazis, pro-slavery. We have here the shadow government. On the reverse side, we have drugs and alcohol. We have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, followed by QAnon conspiracies. We have the Democrats losing. Right, it also resembles the liberals. So the Green Party in the background here was what caused the Democrats to lose. And then here it's while the Democrats winning and the Republicans losing, and that's because of the Libertarian vote. We have here as well as we have the I voted polls are right, the polls are wrong. So this would be a very good indicator, especially if you're reading on an election to kind of see whether or not it's a good indicator and the way the election are going. We have majority leader in the Senate. We have Chuck Schumer and also Mitch McConnell, followed by a tight race between both Republican and Democrat. We have Civil War with World War. We have 18 to 29. So we're talking about voters now, different voter age. This would also be a great way for us to kind of narrow down the gap and who specifically the tarot cards are talking about. Right, we have Gen Z, millennials, young voters. Then we also have here, I kind of wanted something to resemble, swing states, something that would be very important. Like, for example, Ohio is a major swing state, right? Just say the election of 2004 decided the presidential election and who was going to be the next president. And was it going to be George Bush or was it going to be John Kerry? And of course, George Bush won Ohio pretty by a narrow margin, to say the least. We have here the Democrats lean in the presidency, right? We also have here it's followed by the 2008 recession, the housing industry. I thought it was very important because it's also very symbolic card because it talked about the time that Obama was swept into office because the Democrats were leading because of what happened to the housing industry during 2008 and was blamed on the predecessor known as George Bush. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Julie. Happy winter solstice for all you guys. Thank you. You too, Julie. We have here the Republican enthusiasm to kind of see whether or not the Republicans are energized. We do have another card specifically relating to the Democrats here. We have here as well, I don't know why these two are the same thing. They're supposed to be flipped, but I guess not. We have social media giants. So we have different social media. That would be very interesting. We have Monopoly, like a wealth gap, pro-capitalism, Rockefeller and Carnegie. Robber barons, if you don't know what robber barons are, they're basically rich people, kind of trickle down economics before Reagan came in. We have swing states decide, specifically the southeast region of the United States. We have older adult voters. I didn't really know what to call them, so I just kind of call them this. It's the age range between 45 and 64. We have here celebrities, right? Hollywood, entertainment industry, followed by inauguration day, new president, first address, new vice president. We have here economic crash, right? The Great Depression, and then it's followed by the economic boom, which I think, you guys can tell me what you guys think about my new designs or whether or not you like them. We have here swing state decide, election of 2026. And then Texas. We have here DACA and Dreamers. We have, stealing my job, build a wall. So I try to be as more flexible as possible. Hi, Paulette. We have here education, my public school. We have here swing state decide. We have Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, of course, New Hampshire. And then we have here the Rust Belt states. We have Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania. And that is followed by a Republican flip in the midterms. We have here again the election margin, the same thing. We have here 2016 as well with political debate. So we have 2016, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. We have here again another electoral margin with American capitalism. You kind of see here the symbolic that I took into it and created. I know it's been forever. I've been taking a break. In another video, I'm going to talk about why I left, and I'm going to talk about the truth about the spiritual community and stuff like that. And I'm also going to be making videos using this tarot deck, so you guys can expect a lot of good content. We have here Speaker of the House with Nancy Pelosi. We also have here presidency is up for grabs, so we can kind of know where President Biden currently stands. We have here the Supreme Court decided the result, very similar to the way 2000 was done. We have here media interview with the politicians, spin a story, talk to voters, rally supporters. So you can kind of see like it can also be not only used as a tarot card, but you can kind of sense already it can be used as a game or flashcards. We have here again the music industry, right? Jazz. I thought that was very important, very historic, right? And we also have again another electoral college margin. I'm glad you like it, Paulette. I'm glad you like it. It took a lot out of me, but I'm glad you like it. We have line of succession with the presidency. So we have President Biden died. We have Vice President Kamala Harris, and of course the Speaker of the House. And then we also have here another one here as well. We have the FBI, the CIA, and the Secret Service, intelligence agency. Flipped on reverse, we have pharmaceutical companies, high prices and greed, universal healthcare, and then we have the healthcare industry. So we have here the president, the politician, representative, the senator, the governor. I kind of wanted something that was universal. Hi, Sarah. I miss you too. I miss you too, but I'm back. I've been working nonstop, like 40 hours a week, but next week I only get 16 hours, so I'll be making a lot more videos. We have here change, culture, and mindset with propaganda. We have yes, we can, anti-capitalism. We have DNA and artificial intelligence, scientific revolution, solar system and extraterrestrial, technology, understanding physics. We have here artificial intelligence, self-aware, and can actually bear children. So this is actually quite interesting one. I kind of made it something that was very robotic, and it talks about the future. And so actually, believe it or not, actually brand new report just came out that robots can actually have children of their own and make them themselves via like the way that humans would. We have here resurrection of the dead, another electoral college margin. Then we have the Democrats hold the Congress. So we're supposed to also talk about just say 2018, the Democrats swept into the midterms. Then come the 2020 presidential election, the Democrats maintain control of Congress. So that's how that card would be used. Now, in terms of ideology, and you wanted to kind of know where the path America's heading, I kind of made a pie graph, but I kind of made it more dominant in terms of democracy. But on one side, on the right, we have fascism and nationalism, and on the left side, we have here communism or dictator. So it's kind of universal here. We have election fraud, no fraud. We have power and control, and of course, manipulation or misinformation. We have Vice President Kamala Harris, and of course, President Biden. We have here removed from power, not removed from power, so this would be a very interesting card to kind of use. We have the Supreme Court. We have Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I was trying to find a way that we can incorporate her, and this is the way that I could do it. We have prejudice in court, and we also have here forward or backward to kind of indicate whether or not the decision within the Supreme Court is going to bring the United States forward or is it going to bring it backwards. We have Martin Luther King Jr. I thought he was a very interesting character and a very important one, to say the least. He's actually my favorite person. We have here Black Lives Matter and civil rights. I have a dream. And then what follows on the other side is assassination attempt with JFK, which is actually kind of interesting now that I noticed because a lot of these cards were actually supposed to be flipped and they're not, what tells me that maybe my spirit guides have me doing it on both sides, so chances are it's going to end up like this majority of the time. This one is my favorite design I ever made. It's the reality card. Right, we have virtual reality, we have time being warped, reality being like kind of like destroyed in some way. We talked about the Mandela effect, the multiverse, man-made, time travel, or Nikola Tesla, and we have understanding time. On the back of it here, we have is the State of the Union, the destination, designated survivor speech. Hi, baby cakes. You gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. Love you. Love you too. We have the Statue of Liberty. This is a very pretty card. It actually has here what's written on that card on the side here. So July 4th, 1776. I'm not exactly sure. We also have France as well. And then on the back of it, we have the Founding Fathers. This is the first president, George Washington. We have here as well, this is kind of cool design that I made. Animal abuse. We have here quality and length of life, GMOs and other chemicals, food industry. Then on the back of it, we have normal turnout. So if you want to know kind of whether or not there's going to be a high turnout, normal turnout, or low turnout, to kind of be able to see who's going to win in the election. Again, we have another electoral college margin, and it's also followed by disability rights. So someone in a wheelchair, we have hearing disability, and of course, that thing is for somebody who only has one leg or like arm. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, so don't hold me to it. We have here Unsolved Mysteries, so this would be kind of cool card. We have Egypt, Atlantis, Bermuda Triangle, dinosaurs, right? And then we have here 1950s, Toxic Family Value, Capitalism, Golden Age, Higher Wages, Anti-Gay Christian Playbook. I kind of wanted to make sure it was very symbolic of American history. So even if you're not using it for tarot, you are learning history as you go. We have here woke culture. We have yes or no. So depending on what question it is, it's going to flip based on what you see. We also have a tarot card reading actually within it. I had to create it myself. We have here prediction or psychics. So I kind of wanted something that would be incorporated in them. We have here the popular vote. The Democrats will win but lose the White House. We also have here as well, Republicans lose the popular vote but end up winning. And then we have Clinton versus Trump and then the national popular vote. Of course, we already have the rise of robots and the electoral college margin, of course, another one. But this is kind of cool. I kind of wanted something that resembles this, and this is the card here. We have the Salem witch trial. And this was something that actually occurred in American history, and this will be very interesting to see. So, for example, false accusation, black or white magic. Of course, we have here execution or death penalty. right? And a bias court trial. So just say you're reading on like information, you want to know if it was legitimate. It could be talking about the card can show up and tell you that it's false accusation, that it's not real, it's just made up, it's misinformation. It could also be that it could be talking about a court case, right? If you want to read on a court case, kind of see is it going to go in the favor, is it going to be a fair trial? And it will say no, it won't be a fair trial, basically, based on what I designed the card to be. So we have here, we have Black Tom, 1916 explosion. Now, if you don't know, that was the first terrorist attack on the United States. It was made by the Germans in early 1900s. We have here 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. We have the terrorist attack. And then it's followed by domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists. So I kind of wanted both to be in there. We have the Republican end up holding the White House, followed by religious card. This will be very interesting because they're playing religion into the reason why they hold the White House. We have here a third party, a strong third party support. Your voice is heard, better choices, two-party dominates. We have here as well as we have pro-capitalism, wealth gap, Rockefeller and Carnegie, Robert Barron. We have here the news media. By breaking news, spinning stories, fake news, divide the nation, and of course, I also added another one of these, so you have a more likely chance of it coming up in the readings. We have here American capitalism, as I showed you earlier. Again, we have a lot of duplicates here on purpose. We have here voting rights. So we have easy access, early voting, mail-in ballots. We have here post-influenza, so the roaring 20s, of course. It's a very symbolic card, as we are currently in the 20s as well. We have the roaring economy and the pre-Great Depression. And it's also followed by the American Eagle, strength and freedom. We have here the House is up for grabs. So basically, the House of Representatives, the midterm is undecided. We also have here the incumbency factor, the incumbent, the person already in office, will they win again? And if the card is reversed, it says incumbent loses re-election. We have here military coup. You guys all know who the figure is on the card. I don't even need to mention it. We have here FDR win in 1936. This is the biggest Democratic landslide, I believe. We also have here as well as the Native Americans, disease outbreak, genocide. I thought that would be a very interesting way to add those into the cards, that those are exactly what happened. Of course, Native Americans have way more than just that, but particularly when you pair it up and you're reading a pandemic and stuff like that, this will be the card that will come with the pandemic card that we're talking about an outbreak. We have here as well, we have the Republicans leaning toward the White House. We have here the 1980s to the 90s. So particularly we had the technology boom, we have the impeachment trial, we have the Soviet Union versus the United States, we have the Southern strategy, and of course technology boom. We have historical leader, followed by the midterm, the undecided. We have the Republican landslide. I specifically did this one because a lot of you guys talk about 1984 with Ronald Reagan. And we have here Republican flip. So the Republicans flipped the White House to the Republican Party. We have here the original 13 colonies. You guys may be familiar with this, with the original American 13 colony flag with the Liberty Bell, the King, and of course the Boston Tea Party. We have the Articles of Confederation, which was the first bill that was introduced to the United States. We have the American Revolution that took place in 1765 to 1791. And we have Revolution Pennsylvania Avenue. My spirit guides told me to put that instead of the Constitution. I don't know why, so we'll find out. We have here the Senate is up for grabs. Same thing. The Senate is undetermined on what party is going to have control. We have here the winner known, so we're going to know who the winner is. And of course, the back of it will be telling us the winner is unknown, so we won't know who's going to win. We have here early voting, high turnout. We have here low turnout. We have the Republicans will hold the Congress. Of course, again, you guys seen the card already, the roaring 20s. We have here Democratic enthusiasm, right? We want to know whether or not Biden is going to maintain high enthusiasm within the Democratic Party, or will that cost him? We have here as well, we have the Democrats hold the White House. This one is based on Trump. We have here refusal to concede the election, too close to call. will concede. And then, of course, we have here election fraud. We have here electoral margin. We have the food industry, again, another duplicate. We have the impeachment trial, the manufacturing industry. We'll talk about the Industrial Revolution, minimum wage, child labor. We have another electoral college margin and the witch trial. We have the Democrats winning. And then we also have here as well voting booth, altered results, voter suppression, old technology. We have here as well as we have imprisonment. Is guilty, is innocent. Of course, we have here framed a political opponent. We have here the Congress leaning Republican, so the midterm is leaning in favor of the Republican Party. We have here repulsive leader, same bad thing like nasty woman. We have here New Hampshire deciding the election of 2000, or almost could have been, with that 4 electoral votes up there, could have swung in favor of the Democratic Party. We have here as well unemployment, unstable economy, corporate greed, the Great Depression. We have here Trouble's leader. We're almost done. We have here the LGBT rights, so LGBT standing up for what your rights are. We have gun rights, gun control, Second Amendment, AR-15. We have here American Revolution, 1776 and 1812, as that was considered the Second American Revolution. I wanted something particularly related to 2000, and this was the card that I chose for it. We have here swing state decides, the state of Florida in the election of 2000. On the back of it, we have infrastructure, supply and demand, Rust Belt states, blue-collar voters. We have here Congress decide. This will be another great card, particularly if you're reading on whether or not a bill is going to pass in Congress. This will be the card that will do it. We also have here as well a treaty or trade deal, declaration of war, diplomatic or diplomacy or alliances. We have here personal favors, illegal donation, the national debt, bank and high inflation, overspending, bankrupt stimulus checks, minimum wage, the retail industry, food supply, poor working conditions. We have here older voters, 65 and up, our post-World War II generation, and boomers. We have here young adult voters from the age 30 to 44, Gen X, and millennials. We also have here as well as experienced leaders. We have here 2 last cards here. We have minority win, which is gerrymandering. And we also have here majority win. So basically how this works is this is actually a method that actually is being used right now in your states. We have here is that both parties win 50%. But in order for red to win more seats and have dominant control within the state, they need to make sure they give them 1 red, 2 yellow, but take 2 yellow and have 3 red. Therefore, it's a dominant supply of red. So now they make 3 districts, even with the same popular vote, if that makes any sense. We have here the United States Postal Service, and of course, if you flip it, it says slow mail. On the last card, but not the least, is primary challenge, and the back of it is historical leaders. So that is my deck. That is a deck that I created. I cannot believe that was 30 minutes. I tried to speed through as fast as possible, but I hope that you guys like the deck and that you find it to be interesting and informative, and that something that you would like. And it is copyrighted, so you cannot take the idea and make your own. As this design is particularly copyrighted. If you do like it, let me know in the comment section below. And then, if so, I will go forward and ahead and have it custom made. I will probably set up not an OnlyFans, but like set up a GoFundMe. You guys can fund the GoFundMe. I will use that fund particularly to pay people to design any of these designs that are actually not allowed to be used commercially, and have them custom make it so that I could be able to create a deck for you to sell back to you at a low cost. Okay, I love you guys. I hope you have a very beautiful Christmas. Expect a lot more videos coming within this week. I will probably upload 1 meeting tonight so that you guys have something to read on. All right, I probably could be going live right after this. So if you want to join me to stay put, just follow me on Facebook. Of course, if you guys know, I do have a Facebook account. You guys can just go to my link in the description. You can find it there. You can join me, and I will always notify you right before I go live. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Otherwise, if not, have a very beautiful night. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.